Guys, today we're going to talk about, guess what, the new Patek releases. Yes, new Patek releases, do a little bit of comparison to existing Pateks, show you a bunch of existing Pateks, and just give you our overall thoughts. Would love for this to be as engaging as possible, so please comment below. We really want to know what the public thinks just the same.
And please do not hesitate to let us know what your thoughts are on Roman's new hoodie. You can also email us and comment below.
General thoughts, 20 seconds, go. Not overall.
Letter grade.
To me, general thoughts are, it's a lot of the same, right? Stuff that we've already seen before, just done in slightly different variations. I mean, I understand Patek isn't about major changes, they're about incremental improvements, but this just feels uninspiring.
Adrian, general thoughts.
Well, I mean, I would say you can make that argument for every single brand under the sun, whether it be Rolex, AP, or Patek. They just make incremental changes to whatever popular models that they overall have. But if I was to give a letter grade on the new catalog as a whole, I would give it a C-.
Me personally, I'm going to agree with what both of you said. The general consensus is exactly that. Hey, take something existing, make minor changes, make money, right? I think cash grab comes to mind when I see most of this model. The only disappointment that I see here is there was a lot more concentration on the hype models rather than those that are perhaps less popular, and like some dress Pateks we have in this box here. So let's break them down. Let's start with the easy one, 5811G. It's a 5711. Is there a change in size?
Actually, it went from a 40 to a 41 millimeter case now in white gold. Retail price of it, I believe, is about 69,000 euros. So we're talking more than
$69,000.
Right, more than double the original price of 5711, and 10,000 more than the 5711 1R. So,
Adrian, from you, I'd like to get a sense of price.
That's the number one thing that I woke up to this morning. How much do you think it's going to cost? Because we have clients hitting us up already, assuming that we could just pick up the phone and call and get it right away. Out the gate, I'm gonna shoot low, but I will say over 250.
You think that's going to go over
Yes.
$250,000
Yep.
out of the gate?
Yep.
I think the most disappointing thing isn't the price though, right? Like, okay, they did some incremental change with the bracelet. Now it's got the new updated clasp. The movement is the same movement.
So here's your OG 3700 Patek that trades for that same $250,000 you just quoted on the 5811. I mean, it's night and day in regards to what I would rather have.
Why?
Because how many of those do you think they're going to make going forward?
I don't know, but we do know that there's approximation of 3700s and 1500, right? They're certainly going to probably produce more than 1500. I don't see them doing a short production
What's total
run.
production for Patek in a year approximately?
60,000, right?
60,000. I guarantee you they do that in the first year.
It all depends how many they release. It all depends on the color of the blue, right? I would hope that they made something in precious metal that's going to differentiate
I think
itself.
the color of the blue is extremely, extremely comparable to the latest Nautilus. This lady's, it's extremely, it's almost like it's the same.
Well, I would say if it's in that color variation, it's going to be a hit.
5712 white gold. When I saw the release of the 5712
Rose gold, you mean?
Rose gold, no, I'm talking about the white gold that I'm holding in my hands. When I saw the release in rose gold with the chocolate dial, I did a backflip because that's my favorite release, as a matter of fact. And one thing I wish for is that they took the existing 5712 in white gold and did the same thing. Actually put this on a bracelet, perhaps with a different dial. They didn't do that, but I think that's only a start. And I think next item in line is going to be the white gold version, where they're going to add a bracelet and they're probably going to variate the dial. Let's move on to the next guy, and that is, again, I don't even know the new reference numbers, so you tell me.
7118. Yeah.
So it's
still a 7118.
7118, right? So 7118. For a lady, I'm happy that they did the 7118s, because if you remember, the 7010s were very, very small. So the updated case size, I think,
so is it the same
great.
size as this one?
It's the same size as this.
Yeah.
Thoughts on them jumping on a whole rainbow bandwagon?
Love it. Absolutely love it.
It looks great.
Do you think it's about time, or do you think it's kind of cheesy at this point?
No, why would it be cheesy? Listen, any single Nautilus that they come out with precious metals, with colored stones, is a massive hit. Not to mention, I think that they're not going to produce a lot of these. It's very exclusive. I think it's a gorgeous watch for a woman or man. I mean, but I would assume it's more obviously feminine, considering case size and
even the dial, right? That wave dial is kind of, I think, more so geared towards the ladies' Nautilus. But I think overall the color scheme, the way that they do the gradient sapphires, actually they're not sapphires. There's some, like, I don't know, atypical gem.
If I'm Patek, if you're Patek, do you keep that watch as they just release it, or do you make changes to it?
What do you mean make changes?
See, here it is, as is.
Yep.
A rainbow. Well, this is not a true rainbow. I think it's more of a multi-sapphire bezel, right?
I think this is a new introduction to what they're gonna do on the lady side of things.
So do you keep that watch as is? Do you change anything about it?
No, I like it.
I think looks amazing.
Okay, so I actually would change that watch. I would take a play out of Jacob and Co.'s book. Look at Jacob and Company's book. Look at their rainbow tourbillons, where they envisage set the dials with either emeralds or rubies and things like that. Now imagine that bezel, and then you also have the entire dial set in the likes of a rainbow tourbillon from Jacob and Co.
They're diamond setting with Patek, although it's not the invisible set or anything you're talking about like Jacob does. They don't need to do that because it's going to sell just the same.
I just feel like if you're gonna make something that.
Are you saying that cheapens the look?
No, I'm saying this. I'm saying it's not rich enough.
Well, let's see it in person. Again, these renderings, a lot of times these renderings, when it comes to color stones especially, like you need to see that in person. You need to see how those color stones bounce off the rose gold.
Why not do something in the likes of this Patek?
They'll sell more of that, and enamel's special, right? It's Patek's enamel is the best in the world, right? They make it very, very limited production.
Arguable.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next watch. So this is same reference,
This is
5990.
5990. So I have one thing to point out here. I'm going to preface by saying that 5990 is actually my favorite stainless steel Nautilus on the market. Period. Of anything
stainless steel Nautilus or stainless steel Patek in general?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Ooh.
Stainless steel Nautilus. 5990 when it came out, the travel time when it came out, essentially that charcoal gray dial was absolutely killer. It was such a good looking dial with all the complications that it has in the dial. It just worked. Now, the fact that they made this such a subtle difference.
It almost looks the same.
I
did a double take.
You know, if you're going to do it, why not actually do it in the anniversary?
Would you go white?
I would go white.
Also, one thing to know, we're talking about cash grabs, 10,000 more at retail than the last of the 59.
What did you just say earlier? You were saying something about, oh wow, it costs an extra $10,000.
Inflation must be killing Patek.
It has to be. Listen, think about that. Labor has gone up. Cost of doing business has gone up. I mean, it's just what it is. I think it's almost a fair.
All right, let's think about this. So, price out of the gate of the 5712 rose gold chocolate dial. Your prediction?
I'm just going to go over the 250 mark.
Yeah.
Okay, then what about the ladies Nautilus? That's a little different.
That's going to be something that's probably going to be over 300.
Again, because of the whole rainbow idea.
And also, I think it's going to trade hands a lot less.
Specifically on the hype models from Nautilus and Royal Oak and the dip that we saw in the last few months.
Assuming
do you think people are going to be turned off and not?
No, because there is still a buyer out there that wants to be the first to have it.
Let's move on to a marker type of watch. Now, this is what I like seeing because now we're getting into the realm of.
This is what Patek Philippe is known for.
This is what Patek is known for. We're getting into the realm of, their dressy watches, their high complication lines. What's the size on this thing? And what's the new reference on this?
Actually, this is a 5373P. It actually announces the discontinuation of the 5372, which was the previous version of this. Also,
is the monopoussoir?
Yeah, monopoussoir.
Damn.
pretty close. But yeah, it's a monopusher split-second chronograph plus a perpetual calendar. And interesting fact, this is actually left-handed.
So
the first of the modern left-handed. They did do one example, but very rare. Like I think it was a one-off piece. First of the modern that they've done in serial production.
So here's my thought. I talked about the general consensus for me at least was a humongous cash grab. Updating the case size on this?
It's 38 millimeters still. It's still the same basically I think proportions as the 5372, but it's just basically.
Hold on a second. But now you put it on this charcoal dial.
Yeah.
You're putting on red racing hands. Now I go back before both of your guys' times. I remember selling I didn't sell it. There was a Sky Moon tourbillon, a 5002, the original one. It was a one of a kind. Somebody ordered it with red hands. Mm-hmm. I personally sold a 3939 minute repeater, black dial, red hands. Again, also one-off things. There was a custom order. Patek did all those things, and those pieces came out.
There's been some like 5004s, I think, or 3970s. I can't remember. That were piece uniques, also with black.
Is it black and red? So what they did here is they jump on a cash grab wagon like crazy.
I don't like red hands on grand complication pieces.
I think
it's too. I think it's too sporty of an appeal. I like my high complications to be a little bit more subtle.
Do we know the retail on this?
I think it's priced on request. I don't know.
It's gonna be a $700,000.
Well, hold on a second. What was the last watch?
5372.
Which is a $500,000 watch today.
This is going to be 650, 700. Yeah, probably.
But
no, the retail on this I don't think is going to be over 350.
No, yeah, 300 something.
Okay, so now here's what they also did here is they sort of went and took their dress line, their high complications line, they bumped it up, but they gave it a super sporty look.
Why are we not addressing the elephant in the room, where the crown is?
This is the watch that comes out and then a year later it is no longer in the catalog. This is a watch that fetches $1 million plus.
I mean, even this watch is weird because usually the pusher is, or the top chronograph pusher is at the top of the case. This is at the bottom, which is like they basically just rotate the movement.
See, I don't dislike that. They're all sitting in Basel somewhere, the executives of Patek Philippe, with a few too many whiskeys, and then they just started rattling things off. I think that's where we got.
I'm going to call this my second favorite release. Let's move on to the next guy.
Okay,
Marco, what's the reference?
5204 green.
Okay, so I'll start off with this. In my opinion, 5204 rose gold on a bracelet is the most undervalued Patek Philippe that I can think of in production ever.
I'll second that.
You're getting a split-second perpetual chronograph, right? First of all, Patek Philippe is obviously known for their perpetual chronographs to begin with, right? Now add a split second in there, and we all know how complicated that gets. For whatever reason, it does not demand the type of
Premium it should.
premium that it should.
Yeah.
I like the idea here. I really
It's a weird one, period, though, right? Because Patek is such a classic brand, or at least it's thought of as such a classic brand, and it's going for such an atypical color, right? Green apparently is the new blue.
So I'm gonna throw a verdict on this new split second perpetual, and you guys simply say yes or no if you agree or disagree. My verdict is the following: it's gonna suffer the fate of any other 5404. It's gonna come out of the gate new. It's gonna sell slightly over retail for those that must have it yesterday, and slowly but surely it's gonna come down to that low to mid 200s range, depending on the retail.
I mean, I definitely agree from
Yes, sir. That was a yes or no question.
yes, that's a yes.
I agree.
Let's go to the next one. This is another one that I have mixed emotions.
This is my favorite.
My favorite.
I have mixed emotions about this watch. So the new world time with this, you're all about the dials and the finishes. What is it?
5935A. So interesting. It's actually in a steel case.
Yep,
it's got
what I love about it
it's got a guilloche dial, chronograph, and
Salmon.
world time. And in salmon.
Well, I knew the salmon thing is going to come into play with it.
That's the number one thing I want to highlight, right? First and foremost is the fact that they use a steel case. Now, steel was always reserved for very limited production watches, right? I'll harken back even to modern 6007A.
Which, by the way, was the reintroduction of Collar Travel Line.
Right.
They took Collar Travel Line back.
But we're talking about advanced research, limited to 500 pieces. That's what they always kept steel for, right? Now then they released the 5212 in steel, 5905A in steel, and now this 5935A again in steel. These predate, I think, the 6007, right? For example. They do. So that's the thing, right? So the modern production, or more modern, I'll call them, like recent releases, last 5 to 10 years kind of thing. These are a little surprising, and especially because they use salmon, which is typically their precious metal platinum only kind of color. So like this combination to me is about as good as you can get.
Think about the world time they came out in platinum with that beautiful green dial. Watch comes out.
Well, first of all, that's a very subjective analysis, right? That green dial for most people was too green.
See, I love that watch.
It was like overly green.
Okay, so let's
right?
not argue about the fact how good or bad the green is, right?
Yeah.
So they come out with something that's completely out of the box. Here's a platinum watch with a green dial.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, platinum watches usually blue dials, right? It's a world timer in platinum.
Yeah.
Large size, much like this one. People went crazy for it. It was trading at 2 1/4.
Yeah.
It's down 100 grand.
Yep.
This comes out of the gate tomorrow. Retail, let's say, call it $120,000. And I bring you this watch. What do you pay?
This is far more wearable.
5270 salmon. Why is that not $500,000 today?
Again, because it's just
It's a niche watch.
It's a niche watch. It's already coming out at a high MSRP as it is.
Add into the mix that a world time complication by most collectors, they don't understand the price, paying the price.
But the design is a lot more elegant on that watch than this. This was, to me, was always for your 30-year-olds who are just getting into Patek Philippe, and you don't like a Calatrava, you don't like this. This is what you get into.
Give me a price level once enough of them hit the
Once
market.
it sells, man.
5930 is all over the place. That's the issue. You got the platinum, then you got the steel blue or the white gold with the blue dial.
There, yeah.
I mean, it's,
Well, that's you just added fuel to the fire with that, because again, as I'm buying this watch as a collector, let's say this thing retails for 120. Okay, first and foremost, somebody's gonna, a lot of the Patek collectors are gonna come out there and say, oh, wait a minute, it's a world time. Don't really think that complication is worth that much, which I disagree with, by the way. It's in stainless steel. Why the hell am I paying $120,000? And at the same token, I'm looking at all of its predecessors. There's not a single world time out there that ever did well, with the exception of the last green one during the hypest market that has now come down 50%.
Again, you're right in what you're saying is, but I think the angle that they took here is going to basically erase all of that. Stainless steel with a salmon dial, world timer, it's going to do well. Right. This is my favorite release.
Out of the gate. You saying retail is 120 or
I don't know. I don't know how much it is, honestly.
Let's see. It's 64,000 retail.
Okay, so
yeah, it's a big difference you're talking about.
So 64,000. What do you see this priced?
I could see a triple list. I could even see a triple list. I could even see a triple list because
we don't know the allocation.
Guys, think about
we don't know
think about the market conditions and think about its predecessors. I know you're jumping on a salmon dial. I know you're jumping on a stainless steel case. I get it.
But what if the 5930 came out the gate at 2.5, 220? Let's call it 2.25.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now that the first one that I see on the market, which I will see in Asia, is going to be over 120. It's going to be double the list, I guarantee you, at least.
Put it this way: at retail, I'm a buyer.
Now this for a lady is fire.
I don't know, man. Fire. I think this is hideous.
Fire.
That is, first of all, the red strap. Oh no.
So it's a red strap in rose gold, rainbow bezel, and then there's an inner baguette bezel of diamond.
This is a lady's watch.
No sense at all. I just don't get it.
How big is that watch?
It's, I don't know.
Look, 39.9 millimeters. That is not a lady's watch. Let's take a Aquanaut Chrono and let's just do crazy shit to it, much like they did with the single button lefty.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I don't like, honestly, listen, it's not my personal taste. I don't like gem set watches to begin with. I think the rainbow bezel is tacky.
I'm curious, are they marketing this as, like, not that they're saying in terms of gender, but were they marketing this towards? Is that 40 millimeter?
Yes.
I think regardless, it's a little bit beneath Patek Philippe, which I think...
They wanted to make a rainbow Daytona. That's what they did.
No.
Yes, that's exactly what they did. They made a rainbow Daytona.
Okay, wait a second. They another publication released with it on a white strap. Now that changes things. Boom.
Okay.
Totally different look.
Yeah.
I agree.
On a white strap, it looks 10 times
What about on the beige look, like the 5072 or 50?
I don't like that. Too much going on. I like the white because the white contrasts the dial.
Look at that with white.
It makes the bezel pop a lot more.
So who wears this? A woman or a man?
It's marketing towards women.
Yeah, because
it's the first ladies in-house chronograph. Aquanaut Luce Rainbow Chronograph in Rose Gold was created especially for modern active women.
But again, to me, to create a gem set Aquanaut chronograph, I just don't get it.
So let's talk about overall grade for all the release. Actually, first of all, let's start with your pick out of the entire.
5935A, the best one.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, I'm going with the 5712 rose gold from an aesthetic perspective. I've always told you guys, like, I've always been a fan when it comes to gold watches. A gold date with a champagne dial, one solid piece of gold. I think 5712 does the same for me with the dial that they put on there. That's probably my number one choice, and I gotta go with that weird split second chrono, the lefty, just because of the collectability aspect.
It's a weird one, but I think it definitely will be.
You know, if
completely useless function.
Client calls you,
yeah,
right, and you know we're gonna start getting this text, probably a dozen of these texts saying that I'm able to pick one of the new releases. What do you tell them to take from a resale perspective?
It's 712.
I don't disagree.
Because it's the biggest premium over list you're gonna get. It's the biggest return on investment.
Are you sure? Over a 5990? Oh yeah, definitely. Actually, I don't know. That's tough. 5990 steel, new blue dial.
What was the MSRP on a 5712?
Like 80 odd thousand. It's like 84, I think, or 86.
Hard call. It's very, very close.
Yeah, but it'll be, I think, in between these.
I'm going to say 5712 Rose for one simple reason, because it's a lot newer and more changes than the 59. The 5990 is such a subtle change
that's probably why
people are going to look at the fade of the 5990s prior to that, where the 5712 and the rose gold bracelet chocolate dial has never existed.
What the hell am I talking about? 5800. And what was the retail that it came out at?
5800 was 69,000.
What am I saying? The 5811? 100%. 100%. Yeah, what am I saying? Of course.
You're talking about the 5811.
The 5811, yeah, 100%. Sorry, I take that back. 5811 for sure.
Overall take, what do you guys think?
I give it a C minus.
I'm with you. C minus.
I hate to be you know, the Debbie Upper, I guess, but I'm gonna give Patek a B on these releases.
Strong, dude.
And I'm giving him a B because of the weird lefty one. I'm also giving him a B, believe it or not, because of that world timer. I like the watch. Guys, what I would like for you to do is comment, whether it's positive or negative, on what we had to say. Keep in mind, these are our opinions based on our market experience, based on our knowledge of horology, and based on our buying experiences in the case of Adrian. But do comment below your thoughts on all of these new models. Would love to see what you guys have to say. We do read our comments, so we really do want to see what you guys have to say about that. Other than that, we're going to see you on the next one. We've got to talk about AP.
Got a few things to say about them.
Well, I know you do. I know you do. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Do all those wonderful things. We'll see you next time.